To present the findings and answer your questions, which will be coming, I'll be hosting this meeting. My name is Nenad Šebek, and I'm the Media Strategy Manager of the ALVED project. To my left-hand side is Ian Bancroft, who's the project manager of the ALVED project. And to his left, hello, Dejan Radosavljević, the research director of Ipsos Strategic Marketing, which conducted this study. So first of all, I'd like to give the word to you, Ian, and tell us a little bit about the project itself and about this research study.
Thank you, Nenad. So this research that you're about to learn more about today has been commissioned in the framework of a 2.5-year project entitled Amplifying Local Voices for Equitable Development, which is funded from the UK government's Conflict, Stability and Security Fund. It's being implemented in Serbia and Kosovo by a consortium comprising Peaceful Change Initiative from London, People in Need from Prague, Civic Initiatives, or Građanska Inicijativa from Belgrade, Active from Mitrovica, and the Peer Educators Network from Pristina. Each organization brings its various strengths and experiences and has a specific role to play as we collaborate closely to bring about tangible improvements to the lives of people in Serbia and Kosovo. Our overriding objective is to ensure that communities in Kosovo and Serbia become more resilient against divisive or conflict-generating narratives and play an active civil role that emphasizes cooperation and development for all parts of their societies. We are conscious that the way the media frames issues and covers events has a huge significance for the effectiveness of working with these communities. We are looking, therefore, to understand where there is room for media professionals to cooperate, to influence media narratives, so as to drive positive change inside communities. The research here today provides a fantastic basis for doing this. Its findings and recommendations will feed into a series of quarterly media consultation dialogues involving various media professionals, editors, journalists, social influencers, and the like, who will work together to come up with recommendations for how we can work to combat divisive narratives and to reduce their prominence in mainstream discourse. So I look forward to Dejan's presentation of the research and hope that we have a lot of vibrant discussions that will lead to even more concrete recommendations as to how we can make this research tangibly useful for the improvement of the media scene in Kosovo and Serbia.
So, Dejan, a little bit about the actual study. There were two prongs to it. One was focus group studies, and the other one was actually analyzing the media writings.
Thank you all for your attendance today. We are aware that this is the first step, the scratching the surface, or maybe looking at the top of the iceberg, because we've done interesting and very comprehensive research, but focused on two aspects of this story. One is public opinion, and another is content analysis of the media. Of course, we couldn't manage to spread our focus from different groups of people. We were focused on moderate, political-orientated people in Serbia and Kosovo, and we were focused on different media, basically print and online media in Kosovo and Serbia, which are mostly appealing to the narrative of relationship between Kosovo and Serbia. So these two stories, or these two perspectives, gave us a lot of interesting materials which we will present today. But most of all, we can say that Serbia is, in the media sphere, is completely opened, meaning that everything is on the table. Aggressive narrative, divisive narrative, hate speech is present all the time. In most of the media we were analyzed. Kurir, RS, Informer, a little bit in Politika, and slightly in Večernje Novosti. From the other side, we found that our public is also presenting a variety of attitudes toward Kosovo, toward media covering the issue of Kosovo and Kosovo Albanians. But we found a complete spectrum from younger generation, which is aware of everything which is on the table, but still avoiding to participate in hate speech and participate on any level of that media coverage, to the elderly people which are completely emotionally involved in all these stories. On Kosovo, we have completely different situation, and it's completely acceptable and expectable. Media are much more on the line of professionalism in their covering the story. They are much more under codex of journalism, avoiding any kind or most of the kind of divisive or hate speech, or othering in their covering the situation between Kosovo and Serbia. On the other hand, public is not, I would say, not ready to make any changes. They are accepting the situation, they are accepting their attitude and their media coverage, and they don't see any room for any change in the near future because there is an axiom in their thinking. Serbs are aggressors, and while they don't accept it, there is no room for any kind of development. But from the side of public opinion, we didn't see any specific room for improvement the situation in understanding the position of Serbia, Serbian government, Serbian people, and accepting any kind of compromise or cohesive story which will be placed on the table to be discussed. So I'm optimistic. I'm sure that there is some space, there is some room for improvement, especially in Serbia, where we found a lot of emotionally colored responses by public opinion on participants in focus groups, but still they are willing to see what's happening in Kosovo. Slices of life of people within Kosovo. They assume that they are living the same kind of life. They are every day struggle with the same problems in Serbia, and they think that that kind of communication, that kind of picture transposed from Kosovo to Serbia will help or would help some kind of pacification of the relationship between Kosovo and Serbia. But on the side of Kosovo public opinion, it's very stiff. It's very, how could I say? It's concrete. It's a wall. And I think that much more should be done on Kosovo side in terms of relaxing the situation, in terms of avoiding that axiom that we or whoever should acknowledge its crimes before anything. Any discussion with precondition is one-way street. So situation is difficult, but we first find arguments how to resolve it, step by step, engaging media with professional standards, with a high level of journalism, including for professionals outside the journalism, which can help to provide a real story from Kosovo and from Serbia, and to establish some kind of dialogue between media, between publics, in terms of pacification of actual situation.
Okay, finally we have a question from the floor. Donika Lamajema, just unmute yourself and go ahead, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Donika Lamajema and I'm talking with the network, partners in this project. I want to ask you all, how can we use television to change the narrative? I was surprised as well to find out from the study that people still watch TV quite a lot. And I thought, I mean, it was a personal perception, of course. I thought that people already moved into consuming news and other content from social media, but television is quite strong in the Balkans. At this point as well. And also, I mean, I'm not going to talk again, so I have two questions. How can we use television to change the narratives? And I wanted to know, regarding the methodology, how did you decide on which media to analyze, on which news agencies to analyze because of when Serbia votes? Thank you.
In the focus groups, mostly in that older generation, we've found that kind of people which we call eclectics. They are watching from N1 to Pink, everything. So they are also, as a younger generation, cherry picking, but they are cherry picking the news. So they are watching the news TV station they don't believe, and they watching TV station they believe. So it's easy. Maybe it's easier to make that TV station they don't believe much believable, to make them much appealing to their sound, to the voice of they want to hear. And more and more people which are eclectic and taking news from different sources, starting to think with their own head, and that's good. They are making some kind of critical distance in evaluating any kind of media content they are receiving or consuming.
Hi, my name is Delia Stojkovic. I'm from Phonet News Agency. Can you tell me what is the goal of this study?
The purpose of the study is to give us a really resolute, well-researched foundation that will help us understand how divisive or conflict-generating narratives are developed. And on the basis of that research and its findings and its recommendations, we can engage media professionals, yourselves, hopefully, editors, journalists, etc., to help develop content and approaches that can help confront the divisive narratives. And of course, understanding how they're generated is key to understanding how we can confront them. Understanding how they're disseminated is key to understanding how we can confront them, which domains we need to work with, who we need to engage. So that's the fundamental purpose of this study.
Ian, do you like the first final word, and then Dan?
This research will mean very little. It'll be a paper exercise if we don't turn these findings and recommendations into something tangible. So I hope as many of you who are participating on the call today will engage with us in the future. We want your critiques and your constructive ideas. And as I said, we have scope to commission media work that we feel can make a difference, whatever that may be. We've generated some ideas here this morning, particularly thanks to Dan's contribution. But in the future, it's going to be a question of where we can be most relevant and have the greatest amount of impact.
Very interesting project. It was very challenging for me and very personal experience to find myself in a situation to communicate with all these people, to find a completely different story than I was expecting.